Issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning. Welcome to yet another edition of the Burning Issue. This one is a Thursday edition, and we're delighted that you found time to tune in this morning. Remember, we are live here on 5FM radio on 89.9 in Lusaka and the surrounding areas. Don't forget, we are also live on our partner radio stations. Now, our partner radio stations are Tuta FM in Mansa, covering Wapula province on 90.7 FM. And also in Muchinga, we are live in Chinsali, Muchinga radio to be precise, on 88.1, covering the rest of Muchinga province. On the Copper Belt, we are well covered. We are live on iWave FM radio, that is on 90.1 FM, based in Chingola, but covering the rest of the world. In Kabwe, we are live on Spice FM, that is on 91.1. And remember, Spice FM covers the rest of the Central Province. We are grateful that you have found time to tune in. Don't forget to catch our conversation live on our Facebook page, that is 5FM Radio Zambia, on our YouTube channel, 5FM Zambia. Later on in the course of the program, I'll give you, our listeners, an opportunity to call in and interact with us. I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. Now, our guest this morning is Honourable Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry in Honourable Chipoka Mulenga, Member of Parliament for Chingola Central. Good morning and welcome to the program, Honourable.
Good morning, Zaki. Good morning, listeners from across the country, in Chingola, Copperbelt Province, in Muchinga, in Chinsali, Central Province, and here the hosts in Lusaka. Natila mkwaiwa kumfawonse mwashukeni, mwakabwanji, natatila mkwai.
Great. Now, we will start first of all with us catching up on issues that we had discussed the last time I hosted you here. And I think the key ones that we discussed on, and as far as commerce, trade and industry is concerned, were two key industries. First of all, we spoke about Mulungushi Textile, which was coming up, and I think you had made pronouncements that it was in the process of coming back to life, and that production will definitely begin. We also spoke about the battery industry, especially the production industry. So let's catch up on that. Let's start with the Mulungushi Textile. Where are we now?
Thank you very much. And I want to explain to the Zambian public exactly what the confines of my responsibility are, and in line with the vision of His Excellency the President and the UPND manifesto, and how we want to improve the living standards of our people. Truth be told, times are challenging, many things are happening. We've got a drought, we've got a lot of debt issues to deal with, a lot of industries to build, a lot of jobs to create, the cost of living to deal with. But to do this and achieve this, Zaki, we strongly...
Yeah, go on.
Okay. But to achieve this, we need to do things differently from the way they have always been done. Because if we just continue to do things munshilai moine, then we'll never, ever improve the living standards of our people. Now, coming to your question, Mulungushi Textiles, what have we done? What are we doing about it? The message is very clear, not only to the residents of Central Province, but also to the residents of the country. Not only to the people that live around the Mulungushi Textiles industry, but also to the cotton growers. Among the first responsibilities that the President gave me was to get sure that some industries in this country starts functioning. And I'm happy and proud to say that before we even get Mulungushi Textiles functioning, we have got Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia, which was ever neglected. Now it is functioning. We supported it from the day we came into office, and it has been contributing to the production of fertilizer in the farming season. Last year, you saw even the price of fertilizer reducing from 1,300 to about 850. Why? Because we have set up a new industry that is called United Capital Fertilizer, also supporting the recapitalization of Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia in Kafiwe. As we are talking right now, the Zambian government has injected $5 million in making sure that nitrogen chemicals fertilizer can produce enough D-compound with a future prospect of producing nitrogen urea fertilizer. Once this recapitalization is done, and they've started, you will see that more than between 600 to 700 new jobs for Kafue will be created before the end of next quarter, the first quarter of next year. Now, coming to Mulungush Textiles, which you have asked, Mulungush Textiles, tuilala bafwebe Zambia, miaka yonse, successive governments, they always open it 3 months before the elections. Raisula ngatwapwafyo kuvota fye ndabamba fyo kupenda yaisalika nayo. And the people of Central Province have been crying, and we have seen that cotton farming in Zambia has even gone down. It's not even lucrative anymore. But what we want to do is open it in a very sustainable manner. We have engaged the people that, under privatization, on behalf of the citizens to say, let us find a way. And that mandate, I've been running with it for the last almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years now that we have been in office. I can safely tell you that Mulungush Textiles has got 4 years lines of production for it to be fully operationalized. The first line of production is weaving and ginning. Tie and dyeing. After weaving and ginning, then tie and dyeing, among other things. So number opo tualamba muli first area where we can weave, gin, and also tuasapanga mona tie and dye. Iya katinga mwabula cotton ile balima mwa ipela mwa ipika mwa ibika muli fikala mwa panga monensa one kitenge akale fitenge muzambe twaleshta femuno muzambe twala chakona ba Congolais twalashya ne fialo fimbirelo tufire fuma ku China fiya ku Congo twaya kongulako bamba no kulanda ati bachipoka nga mwayo kasumbale soko ku border kuchira bombo mutuletele ko fitenge because file fuma kulia. But now what we have done, we have been engaging the owners of that facility. And by the way, the Zambian government has always owned, must be 30 to 35% of Mulungush Textiles. And that has been managed by the Zambia National Service through the Ministry of Defense. But I am the Minister of Industry. The portfolio for industry sits under me. We've been discussing with them on how we can revamp it. I must give you a very good announcement. As we are talking, we have now started bringing in 400 containers of brand new equipment. I am a container laser, I branding new. Ya kwetefe equipment ya new. Ila equipment ya bamuli abane bale mission bale tushente kokoti yoto wala isula lelo tatwa isule mailo because the equipment is obsolete. It cannot compete with anything. Ichidi mchalo inoishita. It was here, Zaki, when you asked me, and I told you, Zaki, when we see campaigns begin or not campaigns, or not trade fair, not for shooting, ma campaign if you are ready, ma campaign if you are green, we import it from China. But that should come to an end. We should start doing it now, muchalo cheso, so that now we work together. And I must thank God that our brothers in China and elsewhere else as countrymen, we are working together to support industrialization in this country. So these 8 or 10 of them, the first lot, they've even arrived to Tanzania, to Dar es Salaam. They just have to start coming in so that we revamp the Mulungush Textiles. Next week, I'll be going there to see how we are going to remove the old industry equipment that is there, and we put in the new equipment. I'm very optimistic. The second lot of equipment, before the end of this year, we will start officiating the establishment, or should I say, the installation of equipment to see that we start now producing our own fitenges. This first sector of getting Mulungush Textiles functional, it will create between 400 to 500 direct jobs. 400 to 500 direct jobs. And what we have done while we are revamping Mulungush Textiles this year, we have said we do not want, we have seen load shedding. Load shedding is because of drought. Inenjikala kuchingola nchende yandi amenshi yale tushupa why mukasanga naba imbefi shima na fyambo kama kafiwe river ngamule pitamule kumufulira kuona fyaliro no kulira mwa kuchirira bombo kuna le bombera bombo kesiye mukashifu kafiwe na ikama na amenshi yale muneka fira fine efire chitikana kukariba uko amenshi tupangira malaiti. Because now we've got a challenge with power. The president has said, because right here, to prepare ourselves for the future. And what we have started doing now is, while we are setting up these industries, we have said, do not depend on ZESCO power. China, you are so developed. Power you have more than you even need to provide for your $1.4 billion. Work together with us to support us and provide enough power even for the 1.4 billion population. Now, if we to support us, how we can create enough power supply for the 20 million people. And this equipment is coming with its own power source. Yeah, there is a renewable energy source through solar and other facilities that will power Mulungushi textiles. So this is where we are. We've made so much progress. This week, I'm telling you, the equipment has arrived. In the next week again, must be 1 or 2 weeks, before the end of 2-3 months, all the 400 containers of equipment will be arriving, and I'll be going into Kafua, into Kabwe to launch this and set up this, and 400 to 500 jobs for our people will be created. But now let me tell you, it is not just about the jobs that are coming directly in Mulungushi textiles. Cotton production in Zambia has gone down. Our produced cotton have reduced from 100% to mere 16%. Because but now what have we decided to do? Because feedstock, there will be no cotton to go into the Mulungushi production, into the Fitenge production. What we want to see is Bazaking and Isan Infwale Shati, Infwale Chitenge, Ichitenge made in Zambia. In the same way, we've got fertilizer today, mataba made in Zambia. Chile pele chilumba, waingira munganda, wamana mataozi made in Zambia. Waikala pole nwamenshi vatra mumpelei made in Zambia. We need to get back to those times. Now, what we have to do is, we need to support whatever fertilizer. Fertilizer. We have engaged Abanesu, Fwebe Nengo Teko 30% ito akwata, Neimbi 70% akwata awa muisaba nesu ama investors. Na tubebo kwebati. We invest, take nkumba. You don't keep nkumba muri industry. It is to set up industries there. What have we agreed? Let us bring now the farmers and give them what we are calling outgrower schemes. Fila kuna kambala kwa sugar, teva Zambia sugar bali mafefisadi beka iyo. Bali kwa tako nama farmers over bali pilendala, bamu pilendala me umushiri wowe. Now this is your land. Can you grow fisadies for us? We will buy from you. This is what we want to do even with the cotton farmers. This year, very soon, must be in the next 3 weeks or so, we'll be engaging before the rains even start. Ourselves as a government, there's investors themselves whom we have partnered with, and the farmers in the cotton sector to say, how much land do we need? Who are the farmers? What kind of seed can we give you? What kind of fertilizers can we provide for you to grow this cotton for us? So now that alone, in the agricultural sector, it will create more than 1,000 indirect jobs, plus the 500 direct jobs that you're talking about for the cotton growers. And I'm sure this will be very exciting news, Kubantu, to see that Mulungushi Textiles starts financing the producers of cotton this year, not next year, so that they can produce cotton for the industry.
Let's move to the battery manufacturing industry that you actually had visited prior to me hosting you last time, and you spoke about it. And where are we with that?
For the batteries, Zaki, I want to announce to the Zambian public, by the end of next month, September, we will be launching the first ever Zambian batteries after Mansa batteries in many years. The batteries, the industry, the plants, they've been set up. Kuchubombo, na bapanga, nama battery yarabane, ndefo kulomba bena Zambia. Have faith in your products. The way we buy to import from other different countries. Now Zambia will be producing its own batteries. But if in the land, it is the way you develop a country through industrialization, through industries where people work, where sectors are developed among many other developmental areas. So now, next month, September, we will be launching our own made in Zambia batteries. made out of manganese ya China Zambia, made out of silica ya China Zambia, made out of copper wires ya China Zambia. Fionse, it is a purely made in Zambia. And this is getting made from Chiwombo as opposed from Luapula, Kuleale Pangwakale. But then therefore, Colombo, next month as we launch this, let us buy Zambia, buy Z. Local is laka.
How do you intend to protect the interest of the local product, local manufactured product? I'm asking this question because I think that the government did deliberately increase duty on imported towels in order to protect locally manufactured towels. And that has worked very well, I think. Do you intend to spread out a similar arrangement to the... Yeah.
In the same way,
Right.
It's a simple and clear-cut way of growing your economy and protecting your local industries.
Right.
We are not opposed to competition from other countries. They can come and bring what they have to do. But we should protect our industries. We should do it. Government will do its part to protect what is produced locally. But what is more critical is we Zambians having faith in our products. That is the most critical part. Tax or not tax, incentives or not incentives, hiking or lowering. The most critical part is Zambians buying what is Zambian. Zambians believing in what is theirs. So when we can say, I will buy a chitenge from Zambia, I will buy wax from Zambia, therefore, Zaki Mwaisa Kunchito, Nechirumbana Mukwata, Nafuale chitenge Chakukafiwe, Chaku Murungush textiles from Kabwe. Mulensha motoka yena mukwata Corolla na mukwata V8 na mukwata Honda mwashita mabattery ati yaku nashitire kukabwaya ku Chibombwaya. That is how you grow an economy. That is how you attract na investor kusa mchalo chenu sana, because mwebene mwebalimu mule ijombolola. That is what you should do. And these batteries bazaki tabapelelefe mukupanga ma battery aya myotoka iyo ilinomba kuli chilala in a painful way that yalaya. What has the president done? He sat and engaged the manufacturers of the batteries to say, Bane, you can't just make batteries here myotoka. You need also to make batteries which will store energy, power. And this is exactly what we are doing. So once you have a chingola, once you have a muchinga, once you have a mpika, once you have a chinsali, once you have a central province, central province, we need to buy and support our industries. This is a step in the right direction, creating new jobs that never existed. And this is how you expand the tax base. In the past, my dear brother, people, when they say, let us expand the tax base, 35%, 37%. We don't taxpayers and eat them more. You need to create more avenues which will bring more people in employment, and then you get taxes from those who never used to pay. That is increasing the tax base, and that is increasing now the revenue generation in the national treasury. So this is our vision. This is our plan.
Now, you as a ministry, I know the fact that you are in charge of commerce, trade, and industry. How would you say the performance is like? Or let me put it this way: as a ministry, have you seen any increase in renewable energy investments following the waiving of duty or custom duty on importation of selected solar energy equipment, for example? I know that government deliberately did that, but what is your report card?
Okay, I want to say something, Zaki, and I want to say this strongly, even to the industries and also the traders in the solar equipment. When government gives incentives to say to afumiapo duty, but if you think fair solar and everything,
right?
Why does government do that? All governments, before and now, do it so that the public can afford things. And that is a loss in the treasury of government, because now, instead of government getting those taxes so that they can pay free education, they can increase salaries for civil servants, they can pay them on time, they can fund the recruitments of civil servants and other things. Now it goes down that Abaleshta, they should not exploit the people. The people must buy and afford them. Deliberately yesterday, I took a tour in a certain shop. From that shop, I went to another. 2 weeks ago, I was in that shop. When I went there a few days back, I found the price of those solar things have gone up. Yet, no taxes have been put back. I want to say this and say it strongly. These acts are the acts that make government now bring policies that curtail businesses. Do not exploit the Zambian public when you are not paying taxes yourselves. The government has reduced or waived off these taxes because they want the Zambian public to afford the cost of renewable energy products. Yet the traders want to monopolize the business in such a way that since they are the only ones there, they can push the prices up. It is easy for government now to come up with ventures that undertake government direct buying, and we bring it here. Then you lose businesses. Then you lose entrepreneurial undertakings, and we don't want to go into that route. All we can say is let us be responsible, serve the public. Everyone is feeling the pain of what is happening, but them that have got the opportunity to have access to those facilities, let us give them to the Zambian public in a fair way where you are also enjoying incentives, as has been provided by the government.
And recently, ZESCO announced in line with energy, announced the advancement in the procurement of 218 megawatts from South Africa and Zimbabwe. As a ministry, what are your expectations with regards in terms of supplying this electricity to industries?
Ask your question again.
As a ministry, having heard that ZESCO has advanced in terms of procuring 218 megawatts from South Africa and Zimbabwe. So as a ministry, what are your expectations with regards to supply this electricity to industries?
And I want to answer one question which I did not answer completely. You said, since the waiving off of these things, have you seen investment in the energy sector? Yes, there is a lot of investment. I'll be very academic to give you the actual figures, but I can clearly tell you that there's a lot of investment in the renewable energy system. CEEC, Copper Belt Energy Corporation, has since launched 2 power plants, one in Riverside, one in Itimpi, in the energy sector, not coming from hydro. And we have seen many other Zambian and foreign investors that have set up this. We may not see it today or tomorrow, but eventually, maybe next month or the next year, because these are investments that just don't happen overnight. But they are coming on board, they are happening. The day when these things will be rolled out, people will even forget that there was this period where we enjoyed more. But now, talking about the power that ZESCO has announced of importing more or bringing more into the public. By the way, I should mention, the Zambian public had always been complaining about you're exporting power. Yes, because we were tied to this contract. But definitely, we had to take a bold decision and withdraw the export of the power that we are sending to the other countries. Probably if there's something left, it should be very minimal to keep the market available. So when we get out of this thing, we can still have a hold on that. But we had recorded a number of power supplies. And the public may be saying, you have recorded, but we are not seeing the improvement in power generation and power supply in our domestic homes. What we have done, our focus, Zaki, our focus is to make sure that industrial development does not collapse. It continues to thrive. We want the mining sector, which we are reviving. We want the production sectors like the fertilizer plants I'm talking about. The same other areas, the cement plants, continue to operate and keep the economy running and bringing even, there's so much needed forex in this country. So much of the concentration is going into those areas. Yes, but there's a complaint from the public that ZESCO is not complying with the time schedules that they are giving the Zambian public. Beyond the Minister of Energy, and His Excellency the President, every member of parliament, every councillor has got a responsibility to sit with ZESCO, to sit with their utility companies and say, this is a schedule you have given. What are you doing about this schedule? You say power will come at 6 o'clock. It comes at 8 o'clock. You say it will go at 18 hours. It goes at 14 hours. What is going on? What are the challenges? So if there are challenges, you can deal with them and explain to the Zambian public. I'm just coming from my constituency in Chingola. I want to thank the regional manager, Mr. Banda. And let me just thank first the managing director himself, Mapani, through his regional manager, Mr. Banda, And I also want to thank the Mulenga Water and Storage Company. That we sat with them the whole of last week. Where are the challenges? 2 days no water light. What is happening? We have resolved this problem, but we've understood that power will always be will be having for 12 hours and going for 12 hours. And we've staggered on how we can have it. It will come for 6 hours between this time. It will go for between this time. If it doesn't happen, report, then it is a fault, so that ZESCO can respond. Like yesterday, I must be grateful. I went to Mparataba Kwetama light from 06 to about 8, 9 o'clock. And they could MP Malete, and indeed I engaged one of the operators there, one of the senior officials there, Mr. Chinjenge. They ran on site, operated it, and people now are working. We need to hold each other accountable so that the schedules are adhered to. But now coming to the power that you have spoken about, that we are going to import more. This is going to help industrial uplifting. Right now, our GDP should have gone by 4.3%, given everything we are all equal in place. Our agricultural sector should have grown. Therefore, Zambia, across the country, when the president last year was calling for more people to till the land, people responded positively. When the government said we'll distribute fertilizer in time, they distributed in time. Nabena Zambia wengi lima lelo amaka ya kwalesa te yesu umuinaika omulu. But do not give up. I want to resound the president's words again. Let's go and till the land. Now, this year fertilizer will come in time. Abena Mchinga, I've been interacting with you. Kumpika, Ukanchibi, and others, they've been complaining about fertilizer. We need more fertilizer and everything. The government is looking into it and see that it can arrive in time in the right quantities. So all those things are going to be put in place. But the most important thing, let us respond and farm. Now, the power that is coming in from South Africa, that you have just mentioned it will improve our industrial performance. The GDP that could have gone by 4.3 because of not having power, not having enough food security, and other things, it has declined to about 2%, if not even less. But we need to sustain it and grow it in a little way that we can manage it. So that power definitely will be used into the right sectors that will take care of our employment, will take care of our economic growth.
Okay. Let me get to you as an individual, Honourable Minister. Our colleagues at News Diggers are carrying out investigations, and they've dubbed it how the Sensele rescue mission turned into a mining operation, blood copper, financed by the Chinese profiteers. You showed concern when released, and that again your concern raised eyebrows. Was it that probably you felt uncomfortable because politicians were mentioned, and what was your concern really?
Okay, but let me say something. Especially when you say, look, my government respects the media. My government respects freedom of expression. My government, inspired even by the head of state, really upholds the ethics of media performance and engagement in the public and private sectors. It's a more reason why you will see the president is always saying the fourth estate. Who are the other three estates? We have got the executive. Cabinet. We've got the legislation. Parliament. Being given that mandate by the people of Chingola. Then we've got the judiciary. Then we've got you, the media. Zaki. Ne bonga naiva. Nangu namona tiba Zaki mumuaiva. Shaisefe na mitunganya. Zaki udia nika kualala nachitef. Nangu nanda fatu aba ku media babufi. Ndigefe na Zaki we wabufi niwe. Unfortunately, our country has become so polarized with politics, where it is easy to be show muntu and the public take it without even verifying. I am one person. You, Zaki, when you call me to come to the media, we interact with you. I always come. The same media house you mentioned, when they call me for an interview, I respond and I give an interview with all honesty. And by the way, Zaki, I'll tell you something. There is this thing that when you think when you make a wrong headline, you believe that's when you sell more. But yes, you may sell more. But the question is it moral, or is it right, or is it truthful? I've got no problem being called names or accused of things because I'm a public servant. Then but where now you give an interview and you clear the air about if you blood man, I want somebody to tell me how it's blood man. I want somebody, we lost lives and lives kula said, but with the UPND, we have chosen to be transparent and honest. Even when life is lost, one, we say, this is how we are going to do it. And we take ownership to say, it was never happening before. Because now you, the media, have got access to see those things. That is why we even gave you the access to information bill passed. You've been fighting for this from the time of MMD. Under our government, we've given it to you. Why? Because we strongly believe you are key players, stakeholders in the development of our country. Because your role is not only to bring bad publicity, but to inform and educate. When we lost lives, hello, media, you can even see how they are hating. You can see the torment they are going through. Then you choose to say, if there are any politicians that you are aware of yourself that are benefiting from what is happening, from the deaths of those brothers and sisters who are that side, you've got a raw and right Bazaki to say, knew you, euledia. That is prudent reporting, as opposed to speculation. When you call me Zaki for an interview and I give it to you in all honesty, why do you call me when you've done your investigation contrary to what somebody was saying and I clear the air? Then you still use a headline of an accusation to say, then why did you call me for an interview? You called me to clear the air. And if you strongly feel you are the fourth estate, take the matter to the law enforcers so that I'm held accountable. Because if you don't do that, and you say the politicians are doing this, if you use it there, but then you know who is doing it. And you conceal their name. You don't take them there. Then you become an accomplice to what is happening. But anyway, I respect anyone's opinions and other things. Now, when you start mentioning other countries, I will tell you something. We should be very careful. You can be a Zambian and do business, but it doesn't mean that your behavior reflects the behavior of the entire country where you come from. You can be from a different nationality, but now when a media house owned by yourself and they start bringing it starts bringing bilateral issues in place. And that, it has got repercussions and consequences on how that country is perceived, on how the relationship of those two go on. But if you know it is a certain nation or a certain company, there is no harm in saying this company is conniving with Chite to do this.
So because the Chinese was mentioned and you got uncomfortable with that?
No, that is not what I'm telling you.
Should we tolerate illegality if illegality is seen because, and we should not talk about that foreigner involved
that's where you're also missing it out.
Yeah.
I talked about two good things.
Yeah.
Which you have just chosen one on the other. I talked about when you asked me about my discomfort.
Yeah.
You give an interview to verify the side of the story.
Yeah.
In that same interview, where they came and accused me to say to and I said, here are my hands clean. Even people in Chingola, no, clearly I don't even get myself there. Because that Sensei is not an illegality. Sensei is owned by two license owners in Chingola. It was even given to them long before HH became president of this country by the PF. And all those activities, deaths and everything were always happening. But because now, as we say, these are the owners, there is trespassing, government, let's move in and control this. Let us bury the boys that have dead, and you say we'll take over your license. We've got nothing to do with it. I may be minister, I may be member of parliament. I have got no right to even step in a mining license. I should be permitted by the owners, who should have the legal rights. And but I've got the right to provide leadership when I see something scanty happening, when I see something wrong or something mischievous taking place. So when I talk about now to say, being protected by the politicians, I gave an interview and everything, and I got concerned. Chibusawan, in good faith, not with acrimony, to say, can I just get clarity? So, Zaki, when I observe something about you, I shouldn't seek clarity with you. I create acrimony. Because you see, in Zambia today, especially when a politician is available, you just see him, oh, he walks naked. Verify it. I was at home in my shorts, in my vest. In that same thing, look, there is this thing of that I'm seeing happening, that when they see a UPND cadre doing business, which they are criminals, there is no harm in a UPND cadre doing business, just like there is no harm in a PF cadre doing business. In the same sense, we see even those cadres who are beating our people are doing business alongside with others. What is wrong with that? Should being a cadre be a sinful thing? When you are a cadre and doing illegal business, then it is wrong. But if you are following all the requirements of the law, then it is okay. Right now, we've got cadres, both PF and UPND, and other people who are working in that sense. They were moving with trucks. No, me as member of parliament, including our own cadres, I said this should never happen. Go and ask the officer commanding in Chingola. Go and ask the town clerk in Chingola. I said, these trucks are beginning to be an environmental nuisance to the public. Impound them until they put tents there. Even our own cadres are supposed, even to the opposition, they came and say, but we are not working. Why are you stopping us? Say, you can work, but work in a very ethical manner. That is how it's supposed to be. When there are illegalities, we raise a red flag.
But what about, because you continue appearing in the news, and again, it's in the news diggers, where Zema actually have said they are not aware that a Chinese business have set up a copper processing plant in Chingola's Chuempalas township. And that if this is happening, it has not been licensed by the regulator. But to the contrary, you've said that these Chinese who are conducting business in Chingola are doing it the legal way.
Exactly.
I mean, the contradictions keep coming.
Okay.
What is your say to this particular
let
story?
me answer you.
Right.
Zaki, I live in Chingola. I know those areas. Even when you're mentioning them, I'm seeing them. I know Chuempala, and I know many other areas where those things operate. In Chuempala, that they've quoted there.
Yes.
I know of one processing plant which is next to a very good company called Status High-Tech. If there is another one, I'm yet to see it. Maybe it could have been set up today or tomorrow. I don't know it. But I know of what it is along Solwezi Road. I visited that facility even when I just became member of parliament. I was in the company of the town clerk, the officer commanding, and the mine safety department. When we even visited there, and I even, in my interview, when the lady was asking me to say, you went there to close down, I said, I didn't go there to close down. I went there to reprimand them, to pay, because our young men and women were complaining Tabafola. They were paying PPE, and I found that Tabafola protective equipment, and they are now getting equipment, and they are getting paid on time. All these agencies I got, as a politician, I'm not an expert in interpreting the documents. So I took the relevant officers, labor and everyone, to say, can you check for this? Can we verify this? And all the documents were available. So if they are not there, they are free to go back and say, this is not there, and then we do the closure. Their interaction with the Zema and everything, I will not discuss that more in detail, but I'll give you information as I have seen. Zema is an institution under this government. And me being minister, and I start taking on Zema on public, I think I'll be amiss in my leadership credentials. So,
again, you are in the news. And of course, I'll talk about it because it's in public domain, that there was near riot at the bloody Senseli mine owned by Mr. Max Mutale. I think he's popularly known as Spax, and his brother-in-law, Mr. Stephen Chishimba. Now, this came as a result of the fact that Mr. Stephen Chishimba had contracted Spax Mining to haul and load and storage. Yesterday, actually, it was business as usual. But when suddenly Mr. Chishimba terminated the contract, and that Honourable Chipoka, yourself, brought the Chinese national to take up the contract. So meaning that Mr. Chishimba, Mr. Max Mtale and Mr. Chishimba are a company that contracted Sparks Mining to carry out these duties, but you pushed in using your authority to actually terminate the Sparks contract instead, and pushed in a Chinese. And this has brought about a lot of talk. It has gone so far that a docket has since been opened at Chingola Central Police, and that you, Honourable Chipoka, have been making frantic efforts to have the matter withdrawn.
Okay. Zaki, let me correct you on one thing. Like I told you, I live in Chingola. You have said Mr. Mutale, who's popularly known as Spax.
No, I think I have corrected that. Okay. Yeah.
There's one of our brothers, or should I say, a resident of Chingola, who calls himself Spax.
Yes.
Mr. Mutale is a different man.
Yes.
That man used to be my general manager when I was working in the mines. Stephen Chishimba is a different man. If you say that
and these two have a business.
Exactly. So if they terminated the contract, you are the media. Okay, first I should ask you a question. For the benefit of the listeners, where is that media news coming from? The one that you have just said. It is coming from a PF blog. This is how bad social media can be. It is coming from a Patriotic Front blog. Which reputable news agency? It is the PF blog. I'm a politician. They are politicians. They will do anything. I do not interfere in any businesses that take place. You, anyone else, go and talk to Bachimba, go and talk to my general manager, Maxi, if I interfere in how he does his business. I have had the conversation before with Max Mutale. I have had the conversation before with Mr. Chishimba, how we can do ethical business in the environment. Not that Natwala no Chinese, I do not operate in that manner.
But is there a docket that has been opened against you? Yeah.
Not to my knowledge, zero. So I even challenge you to call the police command today and find out if that is happening. And who even opened that docket? I don't know. You find out, because I've not even been informed in anything like that. Why I keep my hands clean from that? They will try to bring all those kinds of malicious talk. As long as I stand right, the Lord is my witness, and He'll clean me from that. And they that try to make those traps against me, they'll fall into them themselves. No docket against me. Never ever interacted with that same Chishimba and Mr. Max to say, we can pay. How do they do their business? It's their business. We are not that government. We are not those politicians who go to bully business owners. We support everyone to do business, including the same young man that you mentioned that has got a company that they contracted. We are okay with them to do business, but it should be done ethical. I will tell you how this economy was killed in the past regime. Anyone they know that he belongs to this government, they were choking. You can't do business. When they choke you because you belong to another political party, you've got employees who will be out of place. You've got taxes you are paying, and they send you out of business. Here today, we've got parliamentarians who are opposition are doing business. We've got brothers and sisters who are opposition but they're doing business. We are not that kind, and I will never align myself in that kind of activities and those kind of malicious talk that you're talking about.
Are you aware
it is important, Zaki, that when you say this, you quote your source of information. In the same way you quoted the diggers, you should quote the Patriotic Front page. They are the ones that published that.
And in the same statement, are you aware that there is heavy pollution at Kafue River bordering Chingola, where UPND cadres in connection with the Chinese are doing full-scale mining from the river without approval from Zema? Are you aware of this?
Now, let me tell you something, Zach. I'm glad you have mentioned that. I know young men and women doing those activities that censored. But I found out about the pollution. The pollution actually happened some years back by Konkola Copper Mines. Konkola Copper Mines, they're the ones who did that pollution into the Kafue River. So when you say, are you aware that cadres are getting from there? I know of a person and I'm told, and I'm going into those farms where he's polluting, because it is his farm. And you should know. I'm being focused. I got information by the district commissioner that the spillage is in his farm on the banks of the Kafue River. So he's beginning now to take that and piling it somewhere. And how he's moving with it, which is beginning to be a nuisance. So when you say, is it cadres there? I don't think, and I've never seen that man to be one of our cadres. And I must mention this even to you, the media. Don't just see anyone you do business in mining and everyone, and then you say, you're a cadre. A cadre is that follower who believes in this person for a certain cause. But those, I don't even know them. In the same way that news diggers, they asked me a question to say, business. I've never seen them in politics before. Be it in PF, neither in UPND, nor in UNIP. I've never seen them. So just because they own the license doesn't make them cadres. And the license was not even given during our tenure. It was given during the PF time. A lot of activities have been happening. People dying in that area. The past governments never mentioned them because we bring it to light. And then you want to accuse us to be the thieves. You want to accuse us to be the corrupt. We will continue to bring wrong things to light. Just because in the same way that PF blog you're mentioning, I had to mention this part. I want to move on and focus on development. But because they are the ones doing these things, there's no way I can stop. You are telling me, Bazaki, Ukwebati, they were known for supplying drugs which were bad. They were known for corrupt activities. Now they want to turn that at Tuvalamfiemwavenia. Here we are. If me as minister, I'm involved in those illicit activities, if there is that docket on me, like you have said, Bazaki, let it proceed. Let me be prosecuted. Let me be questioned for that. And I challenge you here where you have asked me on the media that there's a docket against me. Bring it to the media. Let whoever has opened the docket against me bring it forthright and give in that print media and publish it into the media that is that for me. Let there be proof that I've been sitting and intimidating those people. I don't do that. Besides, Mr. Max Mutale, Wachimba, those are senior citizens. I may be minister, but I'm younger than them and I hold them in respect and high esteem. Even when I interact with them, I will never forget my culture and norms, even how I interact with them. But I'll still be firm to discharge my responsibilities and duties.
The fact that I'm privileged to have you here as a minister, and I think we are just coming from, and I think the talk is still there, where I think there's been calls that ministers need to be mentioned, especially when they are being investigated by any of the investigating wings. Taking advantage of your being here, if the Anti-Corruption Commission were to investigate you, would you go public that you are being investigated?
Look, I'm a public servant. Why should I hide about it? I'm a public servant. His life is in public. My salaries are in public. Unfortunately, I feel sorry that even my children have begin to be drawn into public, a life that they never chose, and my wife. I'm a public servant.
Have you ever been investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission?
Not to my knowledge. If they're doing it, they're doing it under...
Not even been interviewed by Anti-Corruption Commission?
I've never. I keep away from illicit activities, Chief. My role is none. This president we have is always cautioning us. Vane, do things right. You may be doing things wrong. Power is not permanent, this political power. A day will come when you'll be visiting these places. And I heed that counsel and guidance that HH is giving. Every single day when cabinet is starting, he's always telling us, keep away from these illicit activities. They will protect you even after you have served.
So since
And we do that.
so
if there is that
so
kind
since the Anti-Corruption Commission have said they are ministers that are being investigated in this government, you are not one of them.
Look, if they've never engaged me, I've never been interrogated. So if I tell you that I don't know that, next time you say, when they bring my name out, you say, I don't know. I've never been reached out. I've never been spoken to. They work independently. I'm not their minister, line minister. My job is business. If they will come to me and reach out, they will do a search for investigating you on this. The new Bazak caught me. He lied. As far as I'm concerned, I've never been reached out to. I don't know anything that is going on, and I don't engage in any illicit activities. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you one question before we bring in the phone calls. How is your development agency's performance in as far as attracting investment is concerned?
Very much well.
You're happy?
That's why you're seeing Mulungush Textiles coming to life. That's why you're seeing Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia coming to life. That's why you're seeing United Capital Fertilizers building fertilizer, making fertilizer in Zambia. That's why you're seeing the batteries coming to life. That is why you are seeing the Ndola Dio Carriageway coming to life. That's why you are seeing the Kasumbalesa Chingola Road coming to life. That's why you are seeing Kipushi border, Sakanya border are being developed. It's because the arm of investment in this country is doing its job. Yes, sir.
Are you aware, as Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, of the alleged Vedanta's financial mismanagement attributed to the release of $245 million for suppliers and contractors, and yet only Kitwe, Chingola, and Chilabombwe councils have received payments, while some suppliers remain unpaid, exposing Vedanta's financial inability to that call?
No, look, let us be realistic sometimes in how we accuse and bring in certain things. When you say financial mismanagement, I don't know what you mean. There is a court process. You know about it. The Minister of Mines, Minister of Finance, including the head of state, has always been talking about it. 2-3 days ago, Minister of Mines and I even engaged Vedanta in their boardroom. We were very transparent. We even publicized
What were you engaging them on?
Exactly. We need to be religious to the court process of the payment of the contractors and suppliers. Vedanta has come out very open, and on a daily basis, they are paying 50 contractors. They're doing it on an ascending order. Whoever they're owing $1 to $2, they're like, then they grow from 3 to just like that in an ascending until they reach those that are hitting $1 million and less. So if they say there's financial mismanagement, I would love to be enlightened so that we can interrogate and get them to do the right thing. Because on this one, we've tied the Vedanta to a court process, which if they abrogate, then it is called for what do you call this thing of when you abrogate the court rules and everything? Yeah, that charge that they do, whichever you may call it.
Contempt.
The contempt, then be contemptuous. That is what it is. But I would love to learn from you more if they're doing that. It's
I'm giving you this.
Lucky,
I'll give you the background of this as you respond further. The background of this is coming from the fact that Action Institute for Policy Analysis Center, IPAC, has actually expressed concern about reports of the data resources mistreatment of Zambian employees at Konkola Copper Mine, KCM. Now, IPAC Executive Director is quoted here, Mr. Solomon Ngoma, in a statement that he has disclosed that the new Chief Operations Officer, Malcolm Mehwet, has alleged terminated contracts of long-serving employees without terminal benefits.
Okay, that's very good. And I'm glad you have quoted that man you have said from that institution. Yesterday, I saw a media blog that was going out. I didn't even waste time. I engaged their public relations manager, Shapi Shashinda, to say, what is this? I was supposed to call Malcolm. He could not come on board because I think he was rushing for a meeting with the Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises. Let me tell you, my dear fellow countrymen and women, how committed we are as a New Dawn government, both at Mopani and KCM. When KCM and Mopani collapsed, Zambians. Now that we have fought so hard to get it recapitalized, they want to come back and take everything from us. It's not going to happen. We, the Zambians who held it, when it was at the verge of collapsing, we showed ability to manage our resources. It's a more reason why we are committed to making sure that Zambians hold also senior management positions. At KCM, there is Mr. Enoch Imponda, who is CEO. Malcolm is the Chief Operations Officer. At Mopani, we've got Mr. Sakanya, who is CEO. In the past, all these could have been replaced. So when they come to say they fire this one, they don't fire this one, we have to interrogate and say, let our people be respected and honored. It's our role as government to do that. I will not dispute that report you're telling me. What I will do is I will draw concern and interrogate more. Because if I refuse now, maybe it's happening. I will take that one seriously. Give me his name. I will engage him so that we can sit him, KCM and us and say, what is going on here? As far as I know, I'll tell you, when you're telling me senior managers that served there have been terminated, I worked for KCM for 15 years. I will tell you the senior managers that I left there, whom I know are still there. Mr. Enoch Imponda was not even CEO when I was working there. He was my director of operations. Today he's CEO. Prudence Dakach Sakuta. She was not even the vice president for human capital. Today she's vice president, human capital, human resource. Shapi Sachinda is still the general manager, corporate relations. Sikufele is the chief financial officer. Oh, now there's one that has come that is working with Manish. There is this young lady, Phyllis, who is the chief commercial officer. Baya. She's still there. We've got Bachilambe, who's director of operations for Concola, is still there. So if they've fired somebody, I need to know of these names that I've mentioned. Because these, I know them. I worked with them. So if they've been fired, we would want to know why and what has happened. But again, I need to say this to my Zambian people. Just because me as your public servant have said, we need our Zambians to stay there, doesn't mean that we can flaunt the laws. Suppose you are doing wrong things. You're working in an unethical way. You will be reprimanded because we've got a country to build. We can't be careless and reckless as Zambians because it is our asset and we don't care about it. It will collapse again. Given the situation where KCM is today, it is a child coming from ICU. Therefore, it needs all the strong minds. It needs every effort to build it. When KCM collapses, the country of Zambia feels the pain. Why is the exchange rate where it is today, 27, 26, 25? We used to produce copper at 1.6 million tons per year. We killed KCM, we killed Mopani, Lumwana and the Kansanshi were at the verge of leaving. No production was happening. Now we are reviving them. We reduced from 1.6 million tons of copper to 600,000 metric tons of copper. Now we where would the forex come from? Losing 1 million tons of production to 600,000 metric tons. Now we have to go up. So, and this is now how we are building this economy. It is step by step, not feeding in fake dollars in the economy, the quatch against. We should build an economy. We should produce copper. We should produce fertilizer. Now I'm happy. The fertilizer we're producing in Zambia, as opposed to the imports we used to do from Saudi Arabia, UAE, or the GCC, Russia, Ukraine, we are now exporting into Tanzania, into Malawi, into Botswana, into Zimbabwe. That is how we build an economy. Now, even when we produce more copper, naturally you will see that when KCM survives, even Lusaka will get better. Even Muchinga will get better. Even Central Province will get better. This is how you build an economy. So if now, because you're a Zambian, then we are killing our own economy. Actually, I'm even more aggressive to our very own. Because
talking about our very own, let me take you to an issue that is of serious concern. Right now, Zambian businesses are complaining badly about how it's proving difficult to do business with government. There are so many Zambian businesses that depend, but then there are so many hindrances in trying to do the requirements now. Tax clearance, right? NAPSA compliance certificates are a requirement, and the number of them, and they keep growing. These requirements keep growing, and Zambians are complaining. How then are we going to do business?
I need to...
If at the first entry of doing business, I'm required to submit all sorts of compliance certificates.
I am very particular in responding to how you phrase your questions.
Right.
When you say now, there are so many requirements. The question that I would pose back to you, sir, is Now, what are the new additions? You see, there are no new additions.
Workman's compensation, for
It has always
example.
been there. Now,
So if
I-
it has
Yes, sir.
if it has I know that it's been transitioning. Okay, NIMA never used to be there. Now NIMA is a requirement.
It has always been there from the time we took over government.
I know, but then
Yes, sir.
from the time you took over government up to now, don't you see these as mechanisms that are killing business? Much as you want to collect from them, but they are not doing business because these requirements are hindering their success.
Okay. I'll answer you, Zaki, very clearly. Our role is to serve the interests of the Zambian public. Why I wanted to bring to contextualize your question, because you see, when you say now, it's like we have brought new things. NIMA has always been there. Workman's compensation has always been there. NAPS has always been there. All these have always been there. And people are complaining. We've identified these things that have always been there are wrong things. Just for somebody to register, me, I'm the minister responsible for Pakra. For somebody to register for business at Pakra, they have to pay so much money. They have to get so many taxes. What have we done as a ministry? We have said, when you are registering for a company, your smartphone, you can easily take it and go on a Pakra website, start registering. When you register there, it will give you automatically ZRA portal to register for tipping and other things. But these licenses are too many. I agree, it is true. I tasked one of my statutory bodies called Business Review and Regulations Agency to compile a business review report on how we can harmonize these tax certificates. You are talking about pension, workman's compensation. It is important. But there are places, Zach, which I should bring to your point and make you even more worried. Go to National Construction Council. Just for one person to be given a full contract on other things, they will have so many certificates. We are harmonizing all that. The report has been complete. I gave a task to my director to give me a report by 15th of July. She has done. And we have now compiled the report. What we are doing, Zaki, to the listeners and the business community, I feel your pain. But if I went on to, in a haste, to just harmonize this, I could have made a mistake. But we have done a serious stakeholder engagement. The private sector, the civil society, the political players, among many others, and I'll also take it now to the politicians in parliament. We will sit in certain committees, not that it should have parliamentary oversight, so that it has got a buy-in. What we want, Zaki, let's say like you are registering for business. They will charge you for fire, they will charge you for health, they will charge you for trading. In one place, 6, 7 certificates. We just want 1 or 2 certificates at the price of 1. Then business continues.
That is at registration. I understand you, but my question is at compliance.
This is what I'm answering, Zaki.
Yeah.
I should, you can't comply if you have not registered for a business.
Of course.
So I'm telling you where we should start from and where we are headed. This is the vision that we have. And before the end of this quarter, Zaki, we'll make this announcement. In the same way I gave you that, next time I'll come here, I'll give you success story on Mulungush I've given you. And this is now what we're going to do on businesses. To you, my dear brothers and sisters in business, yes, it may have taken long, but it was worth the process so that we do the right thing once and for all. What we have done, Zaki, even now on compliance, let me tell you something. I learned a lesson from my brothers and sisters in Kitu at Mopani. I was talking to the Zambia Revenue Authority Commissioner, Zachariah. When Mopani paid every contract 100%, Zachariah moved in, deal with the money. NAPSA moved in, among other things. Then the contractors remained quite abafolele. And that lesson was painful. We now even engage the contractors in KCM. And I want to say this because KCM is listening right now. Chingola is listening. To you contractors, we had a meeting with you and the Minister of Mines who are getting paid today and those that got paid yesterday and in future. Please make sure that you do your statutory requirements. Why Zambia Revenue Authority moves into garnish? Because you run away, you don't want to pay the taxes. It's the same taxes which are used to pay for your and my children in school, that we are using to pay for these civil servants, that we are using to pay even for the roads and other things that we are trying to develop. But I know you don't want to, you can't pay at once because you stayed for years without getting paid. So what do you do now? Sit with the Revenue Authority and come up with a time to pay agreement period. So that you can say, when I pay 5 million, 1 million kwacha. Na kuna mipela ko 50 kwacha. Na kuna mipela ko 50 kwacha. Mpaka anka point the next 3, 4, 5 years. At least mwapema kushimbi, mwadipilila kwa bana wala mshadipilila kuskuru. It is important that you do that. This we should do. And KCM, we've impressed it on them. As they are liquidating this debt, by the way, by the 26th of August, based on what we agreed, all contractors that were owed by KCM will be paid. 26th of August. Then come September, you get right paid within 30 days, not 90 days, 120, 3 years. You get paid when you, that is what this government has decided. All contractors, when they invoice, within a month, they get their dues. This is what should be done. So now for these many certificates, I know there are plenty because myself, I am a small business owner. I have seen how many taxes I pay. I have seen how many certificates I pay for. It is not a good thing. So before the end of this quarter, an announcement will be made. We have to conclude it. I take it to cabinet. It's approved. Then we make an announcement to the public on how we are harmonizing these certificates, talking about compliances. We are committed to it. Thank you.
This is the Thursday edition of the Burning Issue here on the Happy Word of 5 FM radio. My guest is Honourable Chipoka Mulenga, MP and Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. And we would like to get your views or indeed your questions or concern or any contribution that you'd like to make now on 0955 221515. That's the number you're calling us on. The number again is 0955 221515. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Gazaki, good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much for calling. Your name and where you calling us from?
Elvis, I'm calling within Lusaka.
Elvis, please go ahead.
In Kendere.
Please go ahead.
Honourable Minister, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Yeah. Sometimes you make me laugh when you say we have come to save the Zambian people. What Zambian people are you saving when you have put them through hunger? What Zambian are you saving when you have put them through the hardships they are going through? Today, a lot of businesses have collapsed. And there you are, bragging that you are listening government. For me, you are the worst government we have ever experienced in this country. The mines you are bragging about, today, we have not seen even the benefits. You, Mr. Chipoka Mulenga, as Minister of Commerce, are you not worried that these small-scale businesses are collapsing because of the incompetence of your governance? Are you not worried, Mr. Chipoka Mulenga, that you don't have even any solution for the power deficit? In my area here, 2 days, no electricity. Whoa, how do you expect a barberman to survive? Where those people have got a saloon, how do you expect them to survive? And yet you are there saying, no. Yesterday I was listening to one radio station where you say there's no illegality in the plants which have been made in Chingora where they are processing copper, and Zema has disputed that. You even said you bear the full responsibility. So why didn't you go to them and ask before you uttered that statement? Your government came here not to save, but to kill the people of Zambia. You have really killed us. Fuel today is fertilizer. Zach, me, I'm a farmer. Always when I come, I've been trying to get something from the CDF. I've applied. What I need is a simple pump. But a simple pump costs 42,000. That if you go to my farm today, we are doing it manually. Thank God, I'm able to produce 30 boxes of tomatoes. I've interacted with so many people. These roads you are talking about, they are not accessible to us. You have told us to go back to the land. The president has called for us to work and work and work and work hard. And when we want to work hard, all these implements we are looking for, they are not there. So I'm asking you, Mr. Chipoka Mulenga, I want you to make an appointment with me so that I see you, see if these things you are talking about are feasible. I want you to know if I could be able to get a loan to buy a pump for me to produce more in the farms, because your president and my president, as you said, you should go back to the land. This is very frustrating because we have been trying, Zach. How many times have I talked about this, Zach? How the people are suffering in these compounds, but we are trying to make ends meet by making ourselves busy by producing for the country, but we are not helped. There's too much bureaucracy. Look at the corruption which is going on today, as you have heard. If the institutions which are entrusted to fight corruption themselves are corrupt, where are we going to run it to? State chambers have been mentioned that they are corrupt. Where are we going to run it to as a country, Zach?
Thank you. Thank you,
Look
Elvis.
at the price of.
Thank
Yes,
you.
in conclusion.
Thank you,
yesterday,
Elvis.
Zach, I heard that the million is 460 kwacha pakasisi hapa. So Chipoka, ngamwaisha hapo. Tuwe nipintu ifia kweba tikile tukula. Therefore appointment na imwe, and I want it now.
Thank you. Thank you, Elvis. Thanks for coming. So let me take some more calls. 0955 221515. Good morning.
Good morning, Wazaki.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you? This is Chiwe Davis calling from Kabwe Central.
Chiwe Davis from Kabwe.
Yes. Good morning, MP.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Interasi. MP nalanda kwa na mchibemba. Wakutimbe kiria. Mkwai. Ine mukumona kumwali kwa opposition. Mwali tipele ama hopes. Aya ingisa na fulena zambi kwa ti. Mwala chinje chalo. One, mwaitula ile nchitu pamonge misepera. Mwadila ile low cost of living. From that cost of living alimu PF, 2 years it was too high. Mwadila ile kuba low. What do I mean? Malati vunga bukabuela from 120 to 50 kwacha. Few from 17 kwacha below 17 kwacha. But look what has happened. Mwadila no load shedding. Because load shedding is lack of leadership. Now, when it comes to job opportunity or job creation, UPND government, Palwandi minister, it has never get any single job opportunity for any youth, Zambian youth. Why am I saying so? Creating na employing fiali kusana. Previous government created job opportunity by building 650 hospitals countrywide, by embarking on building schools, mamona, which created space for employment. Coming to you, mwaona ule chalo, kuserenje so apata wale omba 2,300 workers because of road shedding. Anyway, I'll try mirorera.
Thank you very much, Davis from Kabwe. 0955221515. Let me get some more calls for you. That's the number you're calling us on. If you would like to call us, remember our guest is Honourable Chipoka Mulenga, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and he is also Member of Parliament for Chingola Central. Good morning.
Mwashibukeni Wazaki.
Twashibuka mwashibuka shani mkwae.
Mkwae wa minister mwashani.
Twabuka fewe mkwae mwashibukeni.
Hawe nabuka mlela ndana Joseph Mseveni pa Kabwe.
Na totela Joseph.
Mkwae wa minister si marondoro wino fane sintu. Ingile fiava olo kulungamike sintu. Kozi economy nangu abantu balelililo kweba economy taili bwino economy yabanganga chilonda ba minister ndempera eko example na likweteko munanji wako chilonda ekikulu sana so lulia ndemtu alilo muti nese shikulu na ina uyu muntu arafa but pakashitaka mkene futi asanje kweba Esieso wampela ko umuti na uvomba sana kweva mpole alipola so na economy ba minister ngilando kweva economy kuvuka fe mutulo apo pena performe buno winwa kusama measures yamo oyo muvikile in place as a government so inende mkose kweva muyumfila abantu efu balelanda because abo bantu nabakwache chilonda so imwe badokita nimwevo so imwe bombenyi kulingana na ma-measures oyo mubikile so that kino ekyalo kiye kitwalire mwone ni government yenu yaletako peace muno mu kyalo tuyendera fulili apa tapaliwa kutuma mwene ni wakapokola wale bombase professional kyonse ni government yenu na maka yenu okweba tumvike kino ekyalo in order so ine baminister then totela setwalire nisho okubomba natotela baminister lesampale n'obutungurushi bwenu.
Totela, thank you very much, Joseph. Maybe you would want to react to some of those?
Yeah, sure.
Please.
I thought I could get even more. Okay. Obviously, na totela sana bakalamba, and thank you for being committed to making sure that you are doing your farming. By obvious, it is the only way we can develop our country by getting involved. Yet I have also taken note of your anger and your frustration by obvious. It is even to listen to voices like yours. And it is voices like yours that motivate me and the president to even deliver on your things that you are asking for. Joseph, Elvis, again, you have requested to have a meeting with me so that I can have a first approach or sight of what your challenges. I accept Bakalamba. You are very much welcome. Come. If you can't come through to my office tomorrow, 10 o'clock by Elvis. I'll be waiting for you. Yes, come at 10 o'clock. I'll be waiting for you. I'll tell my people at the office I want about to schedule a meeting at by Elvis Balaisa. But Mwalando Kwebati tapade futule mwana mugodi ifile chitika. Ba Elvis ifichimono kwebati mwangufi afele lona na mayo mlefu wa yakanyakalile. Ba Elvis kuskulu na ile mwantu nasambile miaka yingi Kopa Belt University Fiami God. Emona wo 5 years, 15 years. Umugodi ba Elvis echande milombela. We should have leadership that has got a vision. Not to kona ule chintu. Efile mwa mwene ba Elvis ba ishile ona ule migodi kuli ubutengurushu kwa lipa ba Elvis. To revive the mining industry by Elvis, that church take overnight. Mumone ba Elvis, mopani idio ya ishile dipila ba contractor 100% ama milioni yandalama. Lelo chaisa unfukata ba fole ya bantu, why? Ilo tabale fole ndalama shaya kunkongole. Bali bapoka mayanda. Bali pila kuzedaraye. Bali pila ba na kuskulu chabana shani. For the Roma contracts nangu ba pela ba mupani. Abena Zambia, nempia shakwata order, tabale kwata. Why? Because shari loba. They need to get more money, more contracts for them for it to start being felt. It will take even a year for Zambian contractors now to say, okay, it was built from Chuluba's time. Rupia Banda, Mwanawasa, Nabasata, to make sure that the contractor bakosa. Then you kwisa bepa fepa mukumo. For them to get back, it takes some time. But the question is there a hope that we are getting back? Yes, we are getting back. Because now the mine is contracting contractors that are local and supplying, making them to supply. But I hear by Elvis, contractors at Mopani and suppliers are still complaining to say they are not giving us reasonable jobs. We want to have access to them. And that is why the local content policy is coming out. Where it is now law and policy to say, Ishindalama so much, it is a prison of the Zambian people. Not anyone else. It is coming out before the end of this year. I talked to you, Zaki, about it sometime back, and it is coming. It is now going to be law. It's policy, so that it is done. So when you say you have not seen anything in the mines, yes, you will see Elvis. Now coming to SMEs, it is true. SMEs are being challenged. And that is what, because of power and everything. A government is a big pot, which now releases individual leaders to go into areas where they are elected. Zaki, shikala fekulusaka because never minister. No. Ndakwekela kubantu as member of parliament. Government tekwe batikano fenene wa ruling party yo. Na ba opposition, na ba independent, balingire ba kubantu. Abantu ba beba. Nokwe bati iwo malaita yale isanga yemu pika biyo beba zesko besi batuletela malaita. Ubu afya banesu bambi. Tabafuaya bachitefyo paka domana chubuteko na bufilo. Where ufilo na iwe wewe MP, whether it ruling, independent or opposition, you are not representing your people. I go back to my people. I was in Chingola constituency for 2 weeks, sitting and seeing aba ichabande tabaleve mishishi. Why tabako ete machine amala itina yaya. I went as MP. Na ila ine salary mfola ndingire ndefu nyako 50 kwa changana ikalaba mpela 2000 per day parliament. Na yashi totuma air clipper. I was distributing ama air clipper mailo aya kucharge afi. But beraleko kubera. MP should work in those areas. Also, you should go walomba kubantu banenga MP CDF ena ichepa. By the way, I've got the biggest in population constituency on the Copper Belt, and I get equal amount from everyone else. What do I do? Na yako mkwai, but trade kings, tupeni kwa mabuto la menshi. Iyo na tukota muto la menshi na mala ngeto la kupela. I distribute in all the market, on the health facilities. Today, a taxi driver in my constituency, they are trying to drive. Why? Because under CDF, we bought a taxis, one investor, you have not created any jobs. But Davis, new jobs, new industry which is making fertilizer, employing more than 1,300 people. New. Yes, it has not been rolled out throughout like that, but 1,300 people. And I went to that industry. If I can reach them, I never attracted fertilizer company to set up here. My drivers and taxi drivers in Chingola today could not have access to taxis and own them themselves. Today they have them. But I hear you, Elvis. SMEs have got a challenge because of the power deficit. Because most SMEs, it is hand to mouth. And that's why it is so painful that this drought challenge is affecting us in this way. My dear brother, Chibwe balando kwebati, but 2026. But what I would advise you is, look, tamuishi imefika chika 2026. Dimbi nkafaine ne omulero lela, tamwakansange ko nshaka boriko ichira pilo mrefu kunchitisha. What I would advise you, my brother, is while we are still here, what should we do to make your life better? What do you think is right so that we move together in the right direction? I want to talk about this aspect.
Can I take some more calls? All right.
There's 2 more.
Right.
It is important that I answer my people comprehensively.
Yeah.
He's talking about balando kwebati load shedding takwad mwalele takwa load shedding. Here we are. It is true. He talked about leadership. Did we ever have a drought in the last 11 years, 10 years? No, zero. Zero. Water was ever there. The dams were ever. Why were we having load shedding for 4 years? 4 years. Zaki here, you are interviewing me. Even when I was just appointed minister, you were running a genset. Don't forget. Why did we have load shedding? Because the people never invested in turbines to run. When we just came up, we said there is water. What should we do? And 90% of our power generation comes from water. Let us buy more turbines. This investment started with Mwanawasa, but successive governments ignored it. And we put money into it, and load shedding went like that. Now, do you and I have control over the rainfall? No, we do not have. If Elvis Balando, my people in Chingola and other places are saying, if Shimafia ufile kama mayanda, kafiwe na ikama, and we are seeing it. The same with Shimafia kama mayanda, efe na kukaribu kamine. So now this drought, it's an act of God where you and I cannot take control. But what have we done as a government? Are we just sitting and watching? No. That's why CEC is putting up solar power plants. But as CEC they're having power. That's why Mulungush Textiles ukwina kufumine chibusa wandiyo Chibwe Davis kukaba solar plant. No Chibwe Davis ngata ukwete nchite fule msepela, and we respect the youths. They came out in large numbers, and we are committed to making sure we do something for them. Of the 500 people, I pray that Davis is going to be among those that will get a job. This is new job creation, Davis, which is sustainable. Mulungush Textiles Davis ulamona proper white elephant in balanda. White. Now I'm committed here. Containers are coming in. We'll be launching. We'll be doing our own fitenge. 500 jobs directly working there will be created. More than 1,000 jobs in farmers will be done. This is how you create jobs and increasing the base. Na isa kuli wa Joseph. Wa Josephu abakukawe. Tatale sale mpala. I hear you and I agree. You don't build an economy overnight. The damage and rot was extensive. But we will continue to commit and do what we have to do. But voices like Elvis, these are the voices I also love to hear, and they send me to do more that I have to do. But even you do good, thank you, Joseph. we'll continue to do what we can.
Let me take some more calls on 0955 221515. Good morning.
Mr. Zaki, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Well, yeah, this is 138 calling you within Lusaka, Zambia.
Triple H.
My good honorable, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is 138, influential man. Mr. Minister, you are very sober and very wise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Continue our honorable. And it's in my ministers, very munga, very 16 or 20. Why they explain it to many people in a sober mind, which means we are moving forward. And the many people honorable, Tuma Yopa Amazambia. What Gomera for LVC, and Mokozili, the better around the table, near politics, the medical movement, understand politics. And you are a Zambian, Zambian, what Gomera will come around the table. So otherwise, Mr. Minister, it's a thing that and it's one of the many Mutika, Bandi was now longer. After one on the many of Brafuti Pakiri, but no, Kundi Mamanin, thanks of a many ways of chicken. Are you sure, Mr. Minister, when I'm one of the contractor, I think that 20%. What a virago on a child with 7 or 8 in 1, how much of a father 20%? Your contract, what thing and arm. But if you have anybody who can go to took the money, you don't govern here. So you don't govern have failed. But in the Americans who think that Ramazama Hala. What are 7 and Chico? You can't be my majority is a very nice. But this time, Mutuka in the world, last week is honorable, there's a more Merenium. Munta Barnachu, what up to you? There's a joke and I have that. Kudara is the info. So that's the data. Pamene Bakita Muche was that Kabada, Apa Machamuche. Apa Pamene Wakangiwa, Papa advice, advice, American patent, so. Not to condemn a very vote, and condemn a very vote and condemn. If we are not moving, otherwise, honorable minister continue is going to have to repair with my own.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. Let me take some more on 0955 221515. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Order.
You have a minute.
Francis Mumbintika is calling you from Lusaka town. Good morning to you, Jackson. Good morning to you, Honourable.
Morning,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
What's your name, sir?
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, sir. What's your name?
No, Francis Mumbi.
Okay, Mr. Mumbi. Yes, sir.
Yes, calling from Lusaka. Tika is Yebo. Yes, sir. Yes. No, I always feel happy whenever I hear a minister has come on the radio because that shows, quite some bravery and also you are ready to face questions and consequences for what the people are crying about. That is very, very good. Keep it up. Now, one thing that I want to tell you, Honourable Minister, quick consultation, I won't charge you anything. I would like to advise your government and the Minister of Transport and Communication through you to say Zambia has a country, we are losing a lot of revenue. And how are you losing revenue? By not having a cargo plane. You understand, Gambia Airways was revitalized, yes, the passenger part of it and so on, but we are losing a lot. Because if you go to the airport, you find Qatar Airways, Ethiopian Airways, these huge cargo planes, Emirates. So with Zambia, we are in the hub of Africa. You get a point. God strategically put us in the middle there to be the heart of Africa. So what we need is an airline because you not allow other people, the goods that we have, all the fresh products, even the farming, the small scale people who are doing business here and there. We are failing to get things done simply because we are relying on foreign entities. And then you cannot have Apex fare. And Apex fare is a fare that can be given to your citizens when you own an airline through certain rebates, certain charges that are affordable. But right now, Zambia is going to do the export trade, the import trade. It's a milestone. So I'm appealing to you, the minister, to the government, to President Akande Chilema, talk to the Minister of Transport and the government. Bring 1 or 2 cargo planes together with the passenger airlines. At the end of the day, fresh products. A lot of goods are being exported within the country. Look at fish farming that is there. You can be exporting fresh fish through the airline. Look at the fruit. Right now, I'm seeing people moving around avocados, nachos here and there. Avocado in the UK, it's diamond. To export even vegetables, the way it used to be when Zambia was there. Fresh vegetables, fresh flowers to the Netherlands. At the end of the day, we're losing revenue. The capital income of this country can be enhanced if we make sure that we have that cargo kind of a plane.
Thank
to
you,
be able to do the
Francis.
business.
Thank
So
you.
there you are assured.
Thank you,
Yes.
Francis.
You are
Thank
assured
you.
that every day you make money as we go on.
Thank you,
So
Francis.
lastly, can you allow me, Razak, just 30 seconds?
No, just 1 minute, just one
Again, to the
question.
minister.
Only one question. Thank you very
No,
much.
It's not a question. It's not a question. It's just
Yeah.
an appeal. When you go to the international airport, people normally, when they want to escort their relatives, they want to receive their visitors. The way you allow people to go on the other side of the old airport, to just see through a window to see a plane arriving and so on. I think something better should be done. Should be opening those doors, men secure the place. And then in the area, the new airport there's
No.
only for
Francis,
VIPs.
unfortunately, Francis, we will have to take some more calls. 0955 221515. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, they seem not to be responding. We'll see if we can take another one. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Colin.
Collins, please be quick, within a minute. Go on, make your
Honourable
comment.
Minister Chipoka, how are you?
But Collins, I'm fine, sir. Good morning.
You know, when I hear ministers who are very courageous and honest like yourself, I feel comfortable in the European government.
Thank you, sir.
Because what we need by this time around, we need ministers who stand upright without shame, without the tag of any corruption. If they are accusing you of corruption, you'll be able to stand and defend yourself convincingly. That is the ministers I admire myself as Colin. Only one problem I have. I'm not going to hide you and I'm not going to fear or to take favor. I have a young brother or my young friend who is a lawyer. And to be honest with you, please, Minister, I beg you, I'm on your knees. Talk to the president. The Solicitor General has got a problem. Solicitor General has got a lot of issues with so many people. And of this issue of saying there is corruption in what, there is corruption in what, it is true because if this young lawyer, who is very close with the system, is being treated the way he's been treated by the same people who look like they are powerful, such as Solicitor General, Honourable Masho Mugende. No, please, we can't go on like this. We cannot go on like this. We fought to fight PF to make sure that UPN is ushered in. And we cannot allow people who are corrupt because they are near with president to start mistreating other people who are on that side. I have a very good friend of mine who is a young lawyer. He just started practicing law, making money, but something on his toes.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Collins, I can't take your grievances on this platform. You will have to find a channel in which you can address your grievance. I would love if we can stick to issues that obviously are of governance nature on this program. You would like to respond, Honourable?
Thank you very much. And I'll start with Collins. Collins, thank you for your statement where you say it is good to have board ministers defend themselves and everything. I'll tell you something, including everyone else, be it Bachiwe Davis, Nangwa Elvis, despite the anger and perception you have, I still call for every Zambian to see things as real as they are. Today, you find that the same people, in the same way, Bachilanda ba Mumbi, the same people who were doing mischievous things, Chipoka but God is just, and He will cleanse me of all the accusing fingers. I will not fear to stand even on a mountaintop and say, I mean well, and this is what I will do. Haga inde Ichilema, before he became president, ubu afya bwaba nensu abafu mapo, badi tuwa mukanwa. Lesari wapele chabu pechakula, ndecho wabomfya kububi. Before Haga inde Ichilema became president, me, Shaunfo Nelson Shakulanda, ase Mulenga. Shalefano kumu paramia Haga inde. Because they were told, I believed he is a tribalist. He can't work with a person like me. I believed he is a Satanist. I believe that is Tishemi God KCM. But I sat with him and Ubufibulaya. But I sat with him even before I became a member of parliament. Maybe I should say this today. With him, there was me, Honourable Milupi. And I asked him questions at his own house the first time I went there. Satanist. How will I defend you? Me, I'm an elder at my church. A church told me, Chipoka, of all the presidential candidates, not even one. Others use the church to manipulate. The church as a campaign platform. No humble Christian. But which church do you go to? Who is your? I am the only non-member of the Christian and elder, even in the SDA church. Here I am. Pentecostal is a big body of Christ. Which church do you go at fixed abode? You to Yaku Zimbabwe, to Yaku America, to Yaku Soko to Pepera. But where do you go to? When he told me that this is the only presidential candidate we have. Then I went then he said, I challenge you, tell me which one mine did I sell? That's why he even challenged the country to say, now Miletela 3-bedroom the house here, power around that is show go then you prove it, demo pera, and the royal church tapera muntuingana because nobody has proved it. Mulilo. Now abantu bambo believe. So we are not that kind of government that are going to be corrupt and illicit in our activities. Yes, some among ourselves, they will be wrongdoers. And when we bring them out to say we are HTHF, doesn't mean that everybody is like that. We want just to root out what is wrong. So even to us, serving leaders, we should interrogate ourselves and do the right things. You see callers here, they are hating inside because they've seen a debutal when we should do things right. But generally as a party, as a government, with again, we want to endeavor to do the right things. Let me go Kuliba Mumbi, Abakurosaka. Bamumbi said things that are very important. Bamumbi, I would love to meet you as well, so that you and I sit, because yes, you're talking about Minister of Transport, but this is trade that you're talking about. I would love to learn more from you, my brother. You are very right. Imagine if we just had one cargo plane to move fresh foods between Ndola and Lubumbashi or Kasumbalesa or Kinshasa. I think we can make a lot. But I know the Minister of Transport may have a vision for this, but I would love to sit with you, Amumbi, so that I can learn more from you and we can see how we can implement this. Thank you for this free consultation. It can be very expensive. Let me quickly run to a Triple H in Lusaka. But Triple H, I learn a lot from my president, being sober. You know, sometimes I even wonder, how does HH manage to stay calm in the midst of crises in a country? It is where we draw inspiration. I should remain to be sober and listen even to everyone else. That is the only way I will implement what LVC, where the rest of them are asking for. I cannot be rational. I will not be that politician anymore. We are not those kind of leaders. We should find a way to serve you and do things right. It is the more reason why we are reviving and resuscitating industries. The damage was extensive. And what we are doing, you will see. KCM Mopani, Lumwana Kansanshi, just get into full production. Yes, you are buying fertilizer. You bought it 2 years ago, 1,300. Last year you bought it 850 kwacha ba IOVs. Na hapa wemepe mwa IOVs mwalanda kwa tichi mwichiona wala chitu alilengo chindame. The same words that my Triple H said, that abaveni abiyababa lerufyanya sana eva tuwana mutunwa sana. Yes, mwebena Zambi. Listen to all of us, but gauge what sense is there. I am not ashamed that the Zambian people are holding us accountable to the things we promised, like Chiwe talked about from Kawe. Why? Because we promised that we would do this, and we are moving in that direction. Yes, we have not fulfilled everything, but we are going into that direction. I am very sure, even my young brother Chiwe C is not yet employed. His son, his daughter, his nephew is accessing education. That is right, we promised. He's going to the hospital today and finding medicine as opposed to getting it sold. Today they are the ones sitting on the mountain top. We need to heal the country. Lolo, they don't learn. All the opposition we have here today, I will challenge all the listeners. None if you let to pay hope now to give alternatives what is happening. All they are doing is amplify. Takuli. Number woka shininga waisa. Kwamba fyo kula wepo ufati yo Zambian government ile mukula cancer hospital kuchalo chavaneso. We are building the cancer hospital in Lusaka. We are building a cancer hospital in Ndola, where Provincial Minister Matambo is. Here, not to those liars. If you know Chipoka na muchitasu alefu anemela ndobaponye. Call the officer commanding. I challenge you, all of you, the media, if I have been reported to court for anything. Zero. That is a PF media blog you are reading. So these who are even doing the rot, because what are they doing? What if you're shetani haba tafu kuya kunge yena eka na okufu kukula abantu na wafwe na vena embela shabwe. But I'll say this in conclusion as I leave the platform.
Yeah,
my dear Zambians, we are committed to making sure that we build a resilient economy. Yes, the times are hard and challenging. It is giving even your public servant Hakainde Hichilema sleepless nights to make sure that we rebuild an economy into a resilient one. And building an economy, it starts with peace. Getting every child, vulnerable and not vulnerable, into decent educational facilities. Providing drugs like we have done into health facilities. Getting everybody working together as a country and loving each other and speaking positive about each other. Getting a media fraternity that is concerned about the well-being of their country for today and tomorrow, even putting in mind the consequences of how the fourth estate manages itself. Not that we are going to reflect to manage how you do it, but it's just an appeal I'm doing as a citizen. Building economies that were never there to come into play, like we're doing with capital fertilizers, nitrogen chemicals of Zambia, the battery plant, Mulungush textiles, Konkola copper mines, Mopani and other sectors. We have to do this together. Supporting companies like Mamba Collieries to set up new power plants, which we are doing now, my brother Chiwe. We are creating a new power plant, which will create decent contractual and pensionable jobs. This is how we build an economy. I can assure you, days down the line, you will see that all these, when they come to play, people will get jobs, everybody will be working, and all things will come to play in a eco and better way. God bless Zambia. God bless the president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister Chipoka Mulenga. He is a Member of Parliament for Chingola Central and, of course, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. And to the rest of you, thank you for having listened, and thank you to the partner radio stations as well that carried this program live. We will definitely be back next week at the same time. And from all of us, is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like.
Love your radio. Love